Welcome, everyone, to a special Royal Rumble edition of the NoDQ Panel. Today, we will be talking about all things Royal Rumble. Today, we are being joined by a special panel guest, not just any panel guest, but he is a Royal Rumble expert. He knows more about the Royal Rumble than I think the other three of us put together. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gregory Cherry. How's it going, man?
Not too bad. And, I've been talking to you guys for months about doing this Royal Rumble panel, probably even longer than that. And I'm finally excited that we get to do it right before the 2018 Royal Rumble, the 31st pay-per-view. I was going to count 88, but I guess you can. It was a TV special. But nonetheless, I'm really excited to finally talk about the best and the worst of the Rumble, because there's plenty of both.
Absolutely. And, of course, we're being joined by our usual panel hosts. Good old JM Jeff Meacham. How's it going, Jeff?
It's going good. Greg and I did a Rumble history perspective kind of sort of on Coast to Coast 5 years ago, but we weren't coast to coast. We were in the same building. We were in the same house. So actually, we were outside for a minute, then we got snowed on. But it's one of those things where we've talked about Greg and I doing a show about the Rumble for many, many years since he was a fan of the XMV days. And here he is. We're doing Rumble. Here it is.
Yep, and we also got the greatest columnist in the history of the NoDQ Galaxy, Mr. Virtue's Rage. How's it going, sir?
Woo! That's how it's going.
That is the perfect way to start it.
That's all I'm going to say. Let's get this going, man.
All right, so do we even have to debate the greatest Royal Rumble match in history? I say it's 92.
Yeah,
we don't have to debate it.
Yeah.
No debate.
Agreed.
So why was it, for people that might not be familiar with the 92 Rumble, why was it the greatest Royal Rumble match in all time? Who wants to tackle this first? Greg?
Go for it, Greg. By all means, this is your show, brother.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to say, if people aren't familiar with the 1992 Rumble, shame on you.
Stop this video, go on the network, and watch the match right now. We'll wait. That's okay.
Yeah. And then you can come back, unpause, and we'll tell you about it.
Right.
But the 1992 Rumble was actually voted in the top 5 of the greatest WWE Championship matches of all time. Like that's including like Iron Man match between Brett and Shawn, and all those fantastic matches. The 92 Rumble, I believe, was 4th overall, which is incredible for the Rumble match itself, which tells you how good it was. I mean, you had 30 superstars. Granted, not all of them had a shot of winning, but back then you didn't really know, because, I mean, who thought Flair was going to go from 3 to win it all? And of course you had the great and incredibly believable commentary of Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon.
Will you stop?
Like Bobby. What's that?
Will you stop?
Look at the tights; they're green. I actually posted a clip from the '92 Rumble.
For everybody wanting to know, that was Aaron Riff's Gorilla Monsoon impression.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, let's see you do better, Jeff.
Will you be serious, Weasel?
That was okay.
That was okay.
Yeah.
No, but by the way, I'm happy to be able to move around. I wasn't able to move around last time I was on the video. I'm out of the
You
car.
are like Bobby Heenan. You're miraculously healed.
I'm miraculously healed after a couple. Well, no, because like I said, I got the collar on Monday. It's Friday. I got the, so it's all good. We're good.
I'm sure.
As long as Pillman doesn't come from behind, you're
if Pillman
good.
grabs me from behind, I'm going to run, because number one, he's not here. Number two, he's kind of far away. More one way. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Greg, I'm sorry I interrupted your spiel there. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I mean, you had Bobby Heenan's commentary because he basically put money on the match for Flair to win, and Flair comes out at number 3, and he has to last the entire way. It was such an incredible story, such an incredible match to watch, and seeing. Did we really think the final 2 was going to be Flair and Sid Justice?
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
And I don't care what anybody says. Like, at the end of that Rumble, people were booing Hogan and cheering Sid Justice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's funny.
how that got
But-
flipped is, well, probably because they just wanted to keep Hogan as a babyface, and they were like, "Oh, Hogan's never going to be a heel." Well, we saw how that worked 4 years later. But
Right.
92 Rumble, absolutely fantastic.
Well,
Yeah,
Greg,
actually-
that was a heel move that Hogan did, right?
It was absolutely.
Yeah.
And people were just
Go
sick
ahead.
of him too.
Right. Yeah, it was just toward the end of the Hulkamania run where I was like, okay, we want somebody else. And they, despite what people say, there were cheers for Ric Flair winning the championship, and there were boos for Hogan helping Sid be eliminated. But if you notice on the network commentary now, not only is the crowd noise re-recorded, but Gorilla Monsoon's own commentary is re-recorded as well.
Well, I think they did that on Saturday night's main event, actually, where they re-recorded Heenan and Monsoon's commentary. But yeah, it's pretty funny how they tried to alter that outcome and the fan reaction and change it to make Hogan look sympathetic. That was pretty funny. But yeah, that Rumble had all the big stars. They had Hogan in that match. You had Sid Justice, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, The Undertaker, Randy Savage, Jake the Snake Roberts, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Shawn Michaels right after he... well, actually, when Marty Jannetty tried to escape him by diving through the barbershop window. But
Chicken.
Yes, you had so many big stars and future big stars in that match. I love the star power in that Royal Rumble match. And, of course, just the whole story of Ric Flair winning and the commentary. Just, in my opinion, that's a 5-star Royal Rumble match if there ever was one. Unfortunately, there is no 5-star Royal Rumble match, but that one should be a 5-star Royal Rumble match. And I think we all consider it to be one.
If you go by the person that gives out the 5 stars,
Yes.
It's not a 5-star. If you talk with people that actually enjoy WWE matches on a regular basis,
Pipe bomb.
then yes. I don't care. It's the best Battle Royal I've ever seen, period. Royal Rumble Battle Royal, it's the best Battle Royal match there ever has been, period.
Well, here's a question. Oh, go ahead, Richard.
Well, Jeff, I mean, we ended up getting the feud with Ric Flair and Randy Savage. I mean, we all remember, WWE wanted Flair and Hogan, but didn't happen. And I'll tell you what, Flair's WWE career during that time was short, 2 years, less than 2 years maybe. But I'll tell you what, it was memorable. I mean, we Space Mountain, Elizabeth, the match with Savage at Mania 8. And it all started with the Royal Rumble win.
Yeah, Flair has himself said this is the greatest time of his career outside of the original of the Horsemen with Barry and Tully and Arn. It was the greatest time of his career, and I agree with that. Flair, for all people that crap on his WWF run from 91-93, he was 2-time WWF champion. He won the Royal Rumble. He main evented WrestleMania, he co-main evented WrestleMania. He was heavily involved in the SummerSlam main event. He was in the Survivor Series main event match as well, one of the main events of Survivor Series, and he started first in the Rumble in 1993. So he had a great run for what it was. Were they ever going to give him the ball and let him run the whole way down the field? Of course not, because he was the NWA guy. He was the WCW guy. They weren't going to give him that chance. But Flair, being the WWF champion within however many months it was, he was the fastest guy to debut and win the championship for many, many years after that.
Right.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, Ric Flair is Ric Flair. He's arguably the greatest of all time. If you talk to 10 people, 9 people say he's the greatest of all time. But his run started here at the Rumble. It really started before that with the Real World's Champion, but him winning the Rumble sent him right all the way through the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
Flair winning that match, I never watched WCW before that. Flair winning the 92 Royal Rumble opened my eyes to the history, and I started watching WCW. That's literally how it happened.
Yeah, Greg, I don't know if you remember this. In Ric Flair's book, he mentioned when he was talking about the Royal Rumble match that it was his chance to show the WWF fans that the NWA WCW wrestlers were a better quality wrestler. Do you remember that in the book, Greg?
I do. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's Flair saw this as an opportunity to not only prove himself to WWF fans, but to prove where he came from to the new audience.
Absolutely. Now, I have a question for you guys. This is a little bit of a tough one for me. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So we clearly defined the greatest Royal Rumble match. What was the second greatest Royal Rumble match? Does anybody want to tackle this one first? Anybody? It's tough. It's a tough question to answer because I feel like they're all like a distant number two. I mean, for me personally, I really liked 2004, even though that one is obviously forgotten about in history because of a certain person winning that. But that was a great Royal Rumble. I really enjoyed 2002 with Triple H making his big comeback and all the big returns like The Godfather, Goldust, Val Venus, Mr. Perfect. That was a fun Rumble. And then I also did like 2005, even though the end was a bit of a train wreck with Vince tearing both of his quads. But I love
Scotty Hottie won.
I mean, I love that bit with Daniel Puder getting beat up by everybody. I thought that was one of the best Royal Rumble moments. And let's not forget, going back to 2002, Maven and The Undertaker. That was a big Royal Rumble moment. So any Royal Rumble matches you guys want to share now for a possible number 2? Virtue?
For me, and it might not have been great, but I guess from the writing perspective, 1998. And again, we also at that Royal Rumble we got the casket match where Shawn got hurt against the Undertaker. To me, that's my favorite Royal Rumble is the whole package.
Right. Paper.
So, yeah, and again, big time invested into Shawn Michaels as a fan. Watching Stone Cold grow, Undertaker was already doing his thing. So to me, 98, Attitude Era, dead center, boom. Simple as that.
All right. Jeff?
I'm trying to think because there's been a lot of really, really good dramatic ones, and a lot of them were just like such garbage. And we'll get to that in a minute, I'm sure. My favorite Rumble besides 92, I'm going to go with what you said is the taboo number to say, and that's 2004. I thought the story of that Rumble was so well told, and yes, we can't talk about it anymore if you're on WWE broadcast, and that's fine. But I honestly think that Benoit's story going in and coming out was the best story of 2004. I think that him being forced into number 1 by Paul Heyman as SmackDown General Manager, going coast to coast, setting the new record, and then, of course, being eliminated for the record 2 years later, but then he went on to WrestleMania, won the world title. The 18-year odyssey is over, blah, blah, blah. It was a great story, and the match itself was so good. And seeing Benoit overcome all the stuff he'd overcome up to that point, told a great Rumble story, I thought.
Greg, your thoughts?
As far as 2004 goes, and actually, Jeff and Virtue, you touched on 2 of my top 5, so I appreciate that. 2004 and 1998. 2004, also a forgotten moment, the first tease of the return of the Dead Man.
Yes.
In the Rumble. So, that was kind of a cool moment as well, to not overshadow Benoit's win.
Right.
But to differ with you guys, it's a toss-up for me between 2001 and 2007.
I like
both of those. Yeah, 2007 was fantastic. They had such great star power with that one as well, and the finish between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker is probably one of, if not the best final twos in Royal Rumble history.
Agreed.
2001, basically Kane's Rumble, and actually, while I was at work today, I was listening to the match going on, the 2001 Rumble, and it was just an incredible match. Also, great star power with that one. Austin winning. Drew Carey. Hey, you know what? Say what you will about Drew Carey. I enjoyed his appearance, as brief as it was. A lot of people don't, but you know what? Take it for what it is. He didn't win. It's not WCW. They weren't going to put the belt on him. But I don't know. 2001 with Austin winning and the final 3 being Austin, The Rock, and Kane. And Kane's 11 eliminations, the Hardcore Rumble. I mean, so many great things about that. And 2001 Royal Rumble pay-per-view as a whole was fantastic because you had the Benoit Jericho ladder match on that show.
My favorite match, a non-Rumble match at a Royal Rumble event, by the way. I'm glad you said that, Greg.
Absolutely. And you also had Triple H and Kurt Angle, which was weird for 2 heels to compete for the world title, but it worked.
Well, it totally worked.
Yeah.
Well, on the topic of non-Rumble matches, I mean, 2000 had a couple of really great ones. In particular, that street fight with Triple H and Cactus Jack. That was one of my all-time favorite Royal Rumble matches. Jeff?
2003, Benoit and Angle. The best non-Rumble match at a Rumble pay-per-view. I don't care if I'll argue with you for an hour. I will. And I'll still win the argument.
I think that match was probably a factor in Benoit getting the big push the following year. The fact that him and Angle tore the house down at that Royal Rumble.
Mm.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, anytime you put Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle up against each other in any setting, it was magic. You had WrestleMania, which was not a technical classic at the end, but it was a great match going into the end. And then in 2003, these guys literally took the moment from Brock Lesnar that happened afterwards. People were like, that's okay. We saw a great match. Lesnar won, yay for Brock. But everybody was talking about the fact that it was going to be Kurt Angle defending the title because he survived an unbelievable encounter with Benoit.
Yeah, that was a great one, too. Greg, any of your favorite non-Rumble matches?
Well, I think we should talk about one last year, and I think you know which one I'm talking about. AJ Styles and John Cena. I mean, they tore the house down as well. And for recent Rumble matches, I mean, that one was great. 2011, Edge and Dolph Ziggler going a half an hour. That was a fantastic match as well. I'm trying to think of more. I know a bunch of
threat from a couple of years ago with Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins. That was a really good one.
Yep, that was good. Yep.
That was fantastic. That was probably one of Brock's best worked matches too, since he's come back in 2012.
I agree with that.
I'm trying to think of more, like off the top of my head. 2014, I was at that one, but there wasn't. There really wasn't a good match of that pay-per-view after Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt.
Tag team table match 2000.
Yes.
Tag team table match 2000.
That was the other one I was going to mention from 2000, and that overall 2000 as a whole pay-per-view, 2000 might be my favorite Royal Rumble pay-per-view after 1992.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, well, you got to remember the 1992 pay-per-view was okay. You had the IC title match, which was brief, but it was entertaining, and Piper won title finally after all those years. But the tag match with the Orient Express and the New Foundation was pretty good too. But the overall pay-per-view didn't really feel like something special until the Rumble match started. 2000, every single match hit on point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Great. That's great.
There's one non-Rumble match I can't believe nobody's brought up yet.
All right,
Rock and Mankind, 1999.
I was there for that. I should be mentioning that.
You know, I'm not sure if people don't mention that because it was so brutal and people kind of overlook it now because it was so just brutal. And, you know, it got out of hand very quickly.
It did. But you know what?
And Nick and Rocket both said you will never see something like that again because it's just not safe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones, because it was the build. I know it wasn't, you know, either guy's greatest match of all time, and I can't remember. I think this was 2002. Greg, you can correct me. Chris Jericho versus The Rock.
2002, yep.
Yes.
2002.
And that, to me, that build was incredible because of the two promo guys cutting it, the heel Jericho, the babyface Rock. I know the match itself wasn't necessarily a 5-star per se or an A++. But I'll tell you what, the characters made it entertaining as heck. So I want to give that an honorable mention. Because a lot of people, I think, throw that one aside.
I think people crap on Jericho's reign altogether, and they shouldn't.
No.
Yeah. So. I mean, it was the whole thing with Lucy the dog, I think, that really tainted that run.
The Mania build and the Mania match killed it. But he had a really good match with Rocket Rumble. He had a decent match with Austin until the NWO got involved. So, you know.
Right. All right, so let's shift gears here and talk about the worst Royal Rumble match of all time. Now, I think for most people watching this, it's going to narrow down to two, and I think you know which two I'm talking about. They involve a certain big dog. The first year, he was actually a little bit popular, maybe by default, but still, he was cheered the first time around. Of course, I'm talking about the 2014 and 2015 Royal Rumble matches. Now, Greg, you were 2014, so... where does that stand among the worst Royal Rumble matches in your opinion?
I mean, that one wasn't that great. I mean, we freaking got El Torito as a surprise entrance, so draw your own conclusions.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't as bad, but I'm also biased because I was there, and it was also CM Punk's last match, so there's kind of that like historical little bit beside it. Yeah. We didn't know it at the time, but
right.
So 2014 wasn't greatly booked because it was blatantly obvious that Batista was going to win. If they would have made him a surprise instead of bringing him back on Raw 6 days prior, maybe a little different story because it would have come out of nowhere and Batista won the Rumble. It's like he wasn't even supposed to be here. Different story. But they brought him back, made it completely obvious. So in that aspect, it wasn't that great. 2015 stands alone as the worst booked Royal Rumble of all time. No doubt about it in my mind. 2015 was bad to the point where at the number 15, fans gave up on the match because Daniel Bryan got tossed and everybody was like, I don't even care. You still have half the entrance to go. We know who's going to win. And then the finish with Big Show and Kane, the only good thing about 2015 Royal Rumble was Kane got the eliminations record. That's it. But the fact that Kane and Big Show dominated guys like Ambrose and Wyatt and Ziggler towards the end, it was like, oh, this is awful. This is so bad. Like it's not even like entertaining bad. It was just bad. And another.
So I got a question. Well, go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
I was gonna say another honorable mention for worst Royal Rumble 2012. That Rumble had 0 star power whatsoever.
Was that the 40
Other
man?
No, 2011 was the 40 man.
Well, I was disappointed in 2012, Greg, because I really thought at the end Jericho was going to beat Sheamus. I really did, and he would get finally his, but he didn't.
Yeah. I was hoping Jericho would get it too. I'm not even mad about Sheamus winning. I'm just saying that Rumble had 0 star power. You had the Final Four: Sheamus, Jericho, Big Show, and Orton, and like other than that, who cared in that Rumble?
Yeah.
Really, you had Primo, you had Epico, you had Ezekiel Jackson, you had freaking Michael Cole was an entrant to show how low the star power was in 2012. Right. So, I listened to the 2012 Rumble, and I was just like, man, did you really have nobody?
Yeah.
So here's a hypothetical I was going to ask everybody, and Greg, I'll start with you. What if Roman would have won the 2014 Royal Rumble, and what if they would have billed Daniel Bryan a little bit longer? I know WrestleMania 30 was great, but that was because of Batista, the backlash on Batista. So what if Reigns won 2014 and the Daniel Bryan build had him win 2015? What do you think? Where would we be if that's how they did it?
Two far better Rumbles is where you would have had, because Reigns upsetting Batista and then getting elimination number 13 would have gotten a huge pop, and like that, the crowd reaction would have been awesome because Reigns was still part of the Shield, so that would have been a big deal in him, going to main event against Orton that year. Yep. So I think that would have been good, and then 2015 with Daniel Bryan winning, I think that would have gotten an insane reaction as well, and I think Daniel Bryan going for the world title against Lesnar at that time would have been very interesting. So.
All right. And who knows? Just some simple as that. Bryan could be healthy today. I mean, we don't know.
You never know.
It would have changed like the space-time continuum, like they say in Back to the Future.
It's a big what if. Jeff, any other thoughts on the worst Rumble or another one you would like to bring up?
People are going to really hate me when I say this, especially you, boss, because you were there. 1999.
Okay, let me explain.
I agree.
99. 99 was entertaining for the entrances. I mean, the crowd watching it live, they enjoyed the entrances, and that's what that Rumble was about. I mean, it wasn't for the wrestling, it was for the entrances. The characters came out, nobody cared about the wrestling. I mean, that was the Attitude Era in a nutshell.
And the problem is, the match itself came down to two guys that spent most of the freaking Rumble outside of the ring.
Yeah, I mean, it was really awful. Over the top. It was one of
those things where it's just like, okay, I know we're Attitude Era, and that's fine. This is first you had the horrible, out of control match, the previous match with the title match, and then you had this bogus Royal Rumble where the guy that won spent most of the match at ringside.
Yeah, it was basically
strategy.
But it's just an Austin
good strategy.
Story.
I get the dynamic of it, but that one was bad. But I think the worst one, and this is going to be a shocker for a lot of people, 1995. The Rumble match itself.
You know what? My thoughts on that?
I don't disagree.
Other than Shawn Michaels' performance and the British Bulldog too, that Royal Rumble probably had the worst star power of any Royal Rumble in history.
It was. The star power was lacking. The fact that it was only 60 seconds between entrants just made it was like, whoa, it's going too fast. It was way overpaced.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much Shawn Michaels saved that from being a complete dud.
Shawn Michaels and his feet completely saved that entire match, and that pay-per-view too, I think.
Why didn't anybody mention 2011? You had 40 guys, right? And you end up with Del Rio and Santino. I mean, I thought, to me, that's the worst one. The Royal Rumble should have never changed format. It should have always been 30. So just the fact that it had more people in it, like Vito would say, erroneous. And the fact that it came, I don't really mind Del Rio winning, but come on. We knew Santino wasn't going to win it when it got down to those two.
Right.
To me, that's the worst one.
That one was pretty weak. Yeah, Greg, go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing with 2011 is that you added 10 extra guys, so it's like, oh, yeah, this is going to be awesome, until you realize they threw in a bunch of filler. I mean, you had the next eliminate like 4 or 5 straight people. You had Cena and Hornswoggle, of all people, eliminate 2 or 3, and it's like, come on. Like, you use these 10 spots on guys that don't even have a chance. Sure, we got Booker T and Diesel, but with 40 guys, you could have done so much better, and they didn't.
Yeah, I agree on that. I do remember Diesel getting a really big pop, though, so that was a cool moment. Let's talk about like some of the surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble since we're on that topic. Some of the best ones. Obviously, the debut of AJ Styles in 2016 was one of the biggest moments of all time at the Royal Rumble. Even though they screwed up the camera angle, a lot of people were upset about that. Jeff, you're shaking your head.
Well, no, it was the camera angle itself just made it. I was like, God, it's AJ friggin' Styles, and they just messed up the whole entrance. It was like,
yeah, some people didn't like that, but it was a great debut, and as I mentioned, Diesel coming back was a really cool moment. Jericho in 2013 coming out, I was there for that one. That Rumble was all right. I mean, I think that was a middle of the road Royal Rumble, but it was cool to see Chris Jericho come back, and actually, I remember Goldust coming out and getting a huge reaction. So there were some fun Royal Rumble moments, and Jake the Snake in '96 coming back after 4 years of being gone. That was one of my all-time personal favorites. Virtue, any of your favorites you would like to share?
The Jericho one. What was he? Number 2. Ziggler was number 1, and Jericho. Yep. Like I love that. But to me, I don't really have any favorites because I have one that I just despise so much, and I don't remember what year it was. Was it in Chicago? Which was the one John Cena came out and then he stood there and did this?
New York.
That was 2008.
I knew right then and there. I just knew right then and there what was going to happen.
But that was a cool surprise. Nobody expected that. That was a legitimate surprise. Everyone was like, "Holy crap, Cena's back!" Like nobody expected that. And that was a fun Rumble. Actually, I liked Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper having their little moment. That was a fun Rumble.
JR went hoarse, screaming at the fact that Cena came out.
Yeah,
he was losing his mind.
That was a fun Rumble. I thought that was a decent one.
I had one a second ago. I lost it. Go ahead.
Oh, Greg.
2009, Rob Van Dam.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's what it was. Damn it.
You blew it, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of cool because
my own moment. I know.
It was kind of out of nowhere that he showed up. I mean, it was in Michigan, and he is billed from. Crap.
Yep. Oh, great. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
And I mean, that was kind of cool because nobody expected it. Hey, he's coming in at 25 for the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania.
There you go.
So maybe that's why they did that. But
yeah, that was just a one-off appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because he had been concussed in 2007, which we talked about Talk Wrestling. Remember, Aaron? Good grief. Yeah. And then he came back to the Rumble. Then a year later, he's in TNA.
Yeah, RVD's was a really cool moment. I definitely enjoyed that
was really
one.
Cool. But I also liked his 2006 when he came back. That was a really cool moment. People were marking out big, including us, obviously. But it was a really cool moment to see him come back after that year-long knee recovery.
Yeah. And what's the shortest Royal Rumble elimination? I've always been confused by this. I seem to remember the Warlord having the shortest, but then WWE said it was Santino. Greg, do you know?
It is Santino. He lasted slightly less than 2 seconds. Warlord actually took a little longer to get over the rope, so Santino does have that record.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because Santino
and Jeff,
had
who
to
eliminated?
out.
Who eliminated Santino?
Santino, that would be Kane.
There you go. So Jeff.
Is your name Jeff? Oh wait, not yeah.
Yes, my name is Jeff.
I know. I swear from my end, it sounded like Greg said that.
Okay.
Well. Jeff, you want to be the trivia master here?
It's Skip.
All right, yeah. Let's do the ultimate trivia, Rumble trivia for Mr. Cherry. I'll let Greg have first crack. If he doesn't know, we'll let the other two answer the question. All right, Greg.
You should give it to us, actually, because we're knuckleheads.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
You can ask me first if you want, because I'll be most likely to get it wrong.
All right. Aaron, I'll ask you first, and that's fine.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
In the course of the Rumble match history, 7 different superstars have thrown 7 people out of the Rumble match with no interruptions in between the eliminations, as far as like he did 7 in a row. Who was the first one to do it and the most recent?
I have no idea. No idea.
Greg knows. But Virtue, do you know?
I'm just gonna guess Stone Cold and Roman Reigns.
You're in the ballpark.
Diesel.
Yeah.
Diesel.
Diesel wasn't the first.
Ah, crap.
I was in the ballpark. I'll take it.
Yep.
Greg?
Well, I know the last one was Strowman.
That is correct.
First one, I was actually going to guess Diesel, but if it was not Diesel, because he did it too.
Right, he did,
the first one, I want to guess Yokozuna, but I don't think that's right.
Nope.
Was it Hogan?
It was Hogan, yes. Very good, Aaron.
All right.
Probably.
Who is the only winner of the Royal Rumble to have never won the WWE Championship in their career, Aaron?
Big John Studd?
That's true.
Okay, so there's 2.
You screwed up, Jeff.
Well, I screwed up. You're right. I screwed up. All right, throw it out.
Okay, hold on. There's Duggan,
Yep.
there's Stud, and there's Luger.
Luger. I had Luger. I forgot about Big John Studd and Hacksaw Jim.
This is why Greg is the host of us.
Oh no! You know what it was? I wrote it down wrong. It was who never
the
wanted.
title was in place.
It was who never wanted a championship in their WWE career. Is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I read it wrong.
Well, Jeff, I threw you off when I asked you that question when my screen glitched. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's all right. No worries. Let's see here. Okay. Which 2 WWE legends, Aaron, have a perfect one-loss record in the Rumble match?
Perfect win-loss record. I have no idea. I don't know.
Well,
Mr. Perfect.
Basically, they've won every Rumble match they've been in.
And this is just the elimination match. This isn't counting regular matches.
Right.
As far as I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh boy. I'm gonna guess Flair.
No,
it's got to be someone that's won it more than once, though, right?
No, it's not actually.
Oh,
Greg, go ahead.
I know it wasn't Austin because Austin didn't win in 2002.
That is correct,
No.
or 1999. So there you go.
Or 96. Big John Studd.
Yes.
And Vince McMahon.
That is correct. They've only been in each one Rumble and they won it.
Yeah.
All right,
look at Jeff's smiling. He's loving it.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this whole thing.
I don't
all
like
right,
going first.
All right, here we go. Which Royal Rumble winner, sorry I said that 5 times fast, has the dubious distinction of having eliminated the least amount of people en route to winning?
Vince? I don't know.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Vince McMahon.
Vince only eliminated Austin. Yep.
Yeah.
Eliminated Austin. That's it. It's all you
Good
eliminated.
logic.
Good logic. All right.
I got one. Yay.
Yeah, you got one. All right, here we go. 3 different people have won both the Royal Rumble match and the King of the Ring tournament in a 12-month period. Aaron, give me one of them.
Bret Hart?
Yep. Virtue, give me another one.
Triple H?
Nope.
No.
Greg, who are the other 2?
Stone Cold.
I was going to say Sheamus, but that was like 13.
Stone Cold is correct.
Oh,
Aaron.
yeah, yep. Stone Cold. The 3rd one, though.
King of the Ring winner and Royal Rumble winner.
We're actually going in order, believe it or not. Brett was the first. Stone Cold was the second. Who was the third, Greg?
Lesnar.
Yep, Brock Lesnar.
That's
All
right. That's right.
All right. Last one. I had 15, but I'm not going to do 15. It's going to take too long. Who has appeared in 6 total Royal Rumble matches, yet never eliminated a single person any time in the match?
Holy crap. Where did you get these questions? I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You want to know. That's it.
So,
Aaron?
He's
been in 6 different Rumbles.
6
but never
Royal
has
Rumble
one,
matches, but never...
Not one elimination, correct.
I know this one.
I have no freaking idea. Santino Marella. I don't know.
Nope.
No.
That was my
been in
guess.
6.
That was my guess. Oh,
Sorry,
my goodness.
Virtue.
Mr. Cherry?
A-Train. Albert.
Matt Bloom, you are correct. Yep.
Wow, I would have never guessed that one.
All right, I'll say the rest are off the air because we're going way over time here.
Okay, Greg, any other topics you want to discuss before we sign off?
I think we pretty much covered them. I mean, we didn't cover worst non-Rumble matches, but that might be too many to name.
Right.
Well, Cena versus Orton in 2014 was pretty boring.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Trust me. I mean, that was. I was at Bragging Rights 2009, and that was a Cena Orton title match. So for it to come back,
that was a good match, though.
For it to come back to Pittsburgh 4.5 years later, and it's still Cena Orton for the title, it's like, come on, seriously, we've seen this a bunch.
You know what nobody mentioned though? Brett versus Razor from '93. That was a good non-Rumble match for the time. That was actually a decent match.
You don't even know what year it happened.
93.
93.
I thought you said 92.
I said 93.
Yeah,
Okay, well now I'm happy.
Yeah, because they hyped that on the first Raw. Razor did a promo.
Yep.
That was a good promo. What about non-wrestling segments at the Royal Rumble? Like, do you have a favorite one? I can list one, and that's don't steal mine, Jeff. Go ahead.
I might. Flair and Eddie at the Rumble drop.
Okay, that was a very funny
one. That was the best thing ever at the Rumble. That wasn't the Rumble.
That was pretty entertaining. But I'm going way back to Sensational Sherry and the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes, that was
a
so
great
good.
segment. And Savage going nuts and then costing the Warrior the title in the match with Sergeant Slaughter. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
You know what's good and not very? It's very underrated. When JBL came back with the cabinet to celebrate winning the triple threat match, and Teddy Long's like, barbed wire cage match. JBL's color just drains from his face. He's like, oh my god.
I love that segment.
It was a great segment.
All right, Virtue. Any other thoughts, or you good?
No, I mean I enjoyed the Attitude Era Rumbles, even Vince McMahon winning, because again, it just that whole time everybody knows I'm a big fan of that era.
All right.
There you go.
So we'll go ahead and wrap up this video. We'd like to thank Mr. Gregory Cherry for being on today, being our special fourth panel guest. Greg, your plugs.
Check out Wrestling Trivia Challenge. I'm the host of it currently. So if you hate the questions, which a lot of people do, but I'm working on that, just send in your own. I mean, you can. NoDQWTC@gmail.com, because we have fan-submitted questions now, so check that out. Also, follow me on Twitter @PA Sensation. I don't use Instagram, like, barely at all, so you can follow me, but you're not going to get anything from me.
All right, so there you have it. And follow Jeff @_Jeff Meacham on Twitter. Jeff?
And don't forget, this week's show on Wrestling Challenge is my rematch for my championship.
Your final opportunity.
My final opportunity against Chris. Yes.
We'll see what happens with that. And follow Virtue @NoDQ_Virtue. Check out his columns on NoDQ.com. Check out his videos. He's been doing some with the Certified G Jeffrey. Check those videos
it's the
out.
big G. It's the big G now because of what's happened.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
You almost have to change the name there, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a whole other topic. So that'll do it. You can follow me.
Covered, Aaron, so.
You can follow me @AaronRift on all social media platforms. And that'll do it for this edition of No DQ Panel. We will see you guys next time.